Welcome back to Cloudbuilt. This is part 3, and we're just going to keep moving our way through the ruin stages. I believe this one might be the final of the ruins, at least the ones that are in the ruins tier. We're obviously going to see a lot of these environments some more, because as I've already said, that's basically it in terms of the visual variety, but that's okay because I like the way this looks, so I'd be fine with the whole game looking like this. And it almost kind of does. Where are we going now? I think we gotta go this way. There you go. Just gonna keep moving through. I really should be more careful with how often I dash jump, because it uses energy, which of course is limited, and you know, you don't always have to use it. Although, yes, there you go, we got that. Now I have 2 of those little extra checkpoints. You know, let's just use one of them right now just to showcase it again. Dunk, there you go, boom. And I used the dash jump anyway, but it's fine because there was an extra bit of energy there, so I could afford to do so. So in terms of the actual game right now and the commentary provided, I'm not really sure what else to go off of other than, I mean, I love this game. Like, holy shit, I've discovered it just recently, and it's just become like my favorite thing ever. It's just so smooth, so fun, so fluid, so... and it's so unintrusively designed. You know, it doesn't have any of those arbitrary, stupid-ass, this is a video game, so we're gonna make it be garbage because reasons, even though it should be a good time, but it's not gonna be a good time kind of things. You know what I'm talking about? Like, every game, you're having a good time, and then all of a sudden you're not having a good time because the developers thought, fuck, they're having too much fun right now. They should stop having fun in our piece of entertainment specifically designed to be fun. And it just makes me wonder why. Why does that happen? I used to have this theory where it's like, maybe games are actually made by aliens, and mods are the only things, mods and fan games are the only ones that are actually made by real people, because they're the ones that actually understand what is fun for us, whereas the aliens that don't get people, they're the guys who make the base games themselves that all the mods and fan games are based on, you know? That we take inspiration from. Like how the aliens built the pyramids. I'm just kidding. But really, it's like, sometimes it feels that way, honestly. And now, oftentimes, it is genuinely because, really, as far as we're concerned, aliens did make a lot of these games, because some of the most popular games are from very different cultures, you know? You got Japanese, you got Norwegian, Swedish, you know, all sorts, and like, you know, culture shock is a real thing. It's like people just have different ideas of what is enjoyable. So maybe the guys who made fucking Mario Sunshine thought that, okay, now Mario Sunshine is actually totally fine. I mean, I've done a whole playthrough of it. But you get the idea. It's like their idea of enjoyable is just different from someone else's. You know, like, apparently the Eastern Europeans' idea of a fun game is Counter-Strike 1.6 and nothing else. Because holy shit, that game was, and I imagine still is, everywhere. I haven't been to an internet cafe in a long time. That in World of Warcraft as well. I mean, League kind of caught on as well, but I'm surprised to notice that that game is generally still popular among a younger demographic despite its age. And WoW as well. You know, like, that seriously caught me off guard when I was, like, working at the school, and some of the kids were like, you play WoW? And I was like, wow, okay, good taste. I was surprised. It wasn't like the typical, you know, fucking... how do I say it so that it doesn't, you know, the garbage game that we all know that apparently is played by many. I don't know. You know, that surprised me. That was a very pleasant surprise. We didn't get anything new from our protagonist, but that's okay, because maybe we'll get something new out of this stage. This level is called Escape, and it's another one of the, well, it's one of those stages that, like, it looks like the Ruins level, doesn't it? It looks like the exact same area we're just in, except it actually belongs to a different category of stages. So maybe with this one, we'll get some more of that sweet backstory, because I do like what's going on behind the scenes in this game. It's very fun. Oh boy. Okay, now we're introducing some more enemy types, and these guys are the... I don't know what to do about this enemy kind. You know, it's just like, okay, what the fuck is going on? What am I doing? How do I avoid this? Do I just run away? I don't know, but I'm just going to keep running around, and okay, I'm just running in circles at this point. What do I do? Oh, maybe run up here, and then, aha, there you go. Convenient arrows are convenient. Let's see if we can do this. Ow, my face, and ignore you guys. Shoot them in the face, and yeah, look at that. What the fuck do I do about him? He's just chasing me everywhere. I guess that's the whole point, that he's just one of those constant nuisance type enemies, you know what I mean? And we're dead. Back to the start. Alright, cool. Oh, listen to that music. got that main motif from the game's title screen if you were paying attention. Well, that is assuming that I let you guys actually listen to it for long enough before I started speaking over it and blah, blah, blah. But yeah, it's got this really cool, like, doo-doo-doo. That's like the main motif melody thing. Wow, it's so weird how my voice, like, suddenly changes when I go into singing mode now. Oh, that's strange, isn't it? Oh god, come on, jump. And you know, I've been fighting this thing about my voiceovers. I'm not even necessarily, like, when it comes to my lexicon or my well-spokenness, it's more so a matter of my voice, because I've been watching some other YouTubers, and it's like, I just turned 20, whatever. And I'm like, wait a second, I'm that same age. Why do I sound like I'm 12, and they sound like they're 40? And, I mean, I guess on one hand, maybe that's not necessarily the worst thing in the world. I mean, a lot of my friends have told me, hey, you'd be great for like a post-hardcore band or something. And you know, yeah, because those people just have, they're like eternally 14. Like their voices never mutate, you know? Like Aaron Gillespie from Under Oath. Or the guy from Sleeping with Sirens, you know? It's like Sonic Frontiers, right? Dude, that is insane. It's like the best shit they've put out since, I don't listen to them that much, but, you know, I've checked out like their discography as a whole, and yeah, as you would expect, they kind of changed their sound a little bit later on. To be fair, they didn't write the songs. It's like with Zebrahead. It's like, no, they didn't make his world. Tomoya Otani made his world. Is that how you pronounce it? I don't know. They just, you know, the guys over at Zebrahead, they just fucking did the vocals, and they did their own version with their own arrangement, but it's still, the original composition is by Otani-san, or however you gotta say it. I don't fucking know. I mean, let's give some more credit to like the rest of the Sonic sound team. You know what I mean? It's not just Jun and Tomoya who do like the banger tracks. There's a lot of really great composers. Not that I could name them necessarily, because their names are a little harder for me to remember. One of them is called Kobayashi Do, which I only remember because of manga, of course. I think he did the Sonic Advance Free, and like a lot of the Sonic Advance stuff. But especially Advanced Free, I specifically remember because it has a very distinct sound. It's really interesting how each of the Advanced games has like a very different sound to it compared to the last. You know, it's like the first one, it was very well-rounded, very much like, you know, just, it felt kind of like just Sonic 1 music, but with the new sound font. And then with Sonic Advance 2, it had a very specific, very high-energy sound. And in Advance Free, it became a little more varied, and it had this, like, super intense remix of Green Hill, and oh, frick, okay, I'm down here again. But yeah, so the levels are going to start getting a lot more challenging, and I'm going to have to be a little more careful with how I approach things here. And speaking of challenge, okay, so I recently completed Shadow Generations, and like, oh my god, I didn't think it was actually feasible for someone to design a boost like Sonic level that is difficult, other than like an Unleashed, because it's just stupid hard there with all like the unpredictable things. But really, like a lot of tricky platforming sections, and pretty stingy checkpoint placement for a modern title. Like a modern, you know, major release. I can't call it big budget. It doesn't feel AAA necessarily in terms of production value. Other than the music. The music's amazing, of course. Oh, come on, die. But it's like, I really wasn't expecting to not get a checkpoint every 2 seconds. Really? It's like, this game tends to be more generous with checkpoints than that. Okay, how am I going to do this? Because obviously that's the end of the level. Can I make that? I mean, we can try. Oh. Yeah, actually, you can make it. It's quite easy. Come on. Just slide up there. See, are we going to get some more audio from our character or not?
Since I first left this room and handed over control to my shaken mind, it has repeated these scenarios where I have just the power to meet any challenge I face, where the mission is always possible to complete. This is a world providing a sense of control, of power, everything we were deprived of in the chaos of those final days. I remember believing once that as long as we had the will to fight on, we couldn't truly be stopped. But I left those ideas on the wayside long ago. I refuse to be comforted by them now. Perhaps in seeing through this lie, I can begin to understand what happened to us after all.
Very interesting use of, well, writing. Genuinely, I do think the writing in this game, it walks a very fine line between seeming a little bit, you know, a little pretentious, but also just really fun to listen to. I mean, not just aside from the actual vocal direction, which is very good. I do enjoy the way those sound purely sonically, but also in the sense that, you know, the messages, they sound very human, very natural. You know, it doesn't sound too high up its own fumes, I guess, compared to some other indie games out there, especially even some AAA games, really, that just feel like there's so much more than what they really are. But no, I think this is great. I'm really enjoying, like, the little bits of backstory. But either way, now this is when the game starts to really change things up with the lighting, you know, to make it just feel like every level is a little bit more unique, if that makes sense. I mean, like, look at this. That is really, really pretty. Also, I've turned my sound way too low, so I can't hear shit, even though I'm sure the music is absolutely banging. Speaking of which, this is actually one of the levels... Speaking of which, that makes sense. This is one of the levels that is, again, on the main path of progression, I think. I think it was called Dreams. So, you know, it's the PlayStation 4 game, made by the same guys who made Little Big Planet, which is very fitting because they're all about, you know, user-generated creativity and such. Let's get that check... Oh, wait, hold on. Completely forgot about this. Boom. Get that checkpoint. Let me just fix my sound up a little bit real quick. There you go. That staggering professionalism, that's what you come here for. It's always fun when you see, like, the bit where the YouTuber has to adjust the thing. Hey, at least I'm not adjusting the fucking video recording like how some people do. And it's just like, oof. And it's the kind of thing you can't even fix with editing. You know, this game actually almost pulled a fucking doozy on me. Because at the start, I had the window a little bit shifted to the side to make it easier for me to see. But then when it went into a different level, it changed the position of the window on my desktop. So I had to frantically go into OBS and change it, you know, so that it was recording correctly. And it was just like, why would you do that, game developer? So at this point, I've just given up on that, and now I've left it in the center. Okay, this is a little bit of visual communication that I'm not actually a fan of, because it feels as if this stuff would hurt you, but it doesn't. So sometimes I feel discouraged to move on particular surfaces, despite the fact that they're totally safe, but they feel prickly. It's like, you look at them, right? Got that motif again, and there's the CPUs we're jumping on. There you go. It's going to keep moving through. Yeah, absolutely fantastic sense of rhythm to this game, because the real satisfaction is doing this shit without slowing down. Because I do like how this game accommodates very different play styles. It allows you to be methodical and kind of just take your time, sit down, figure out what to do. Whoop, go over here. But at the same time, you can totally be just a fucking speedrun bro and just kind of, you know, go through shit as quickly as you can. Just not stopping at any point, even if it is more risky. Oh my god, camera zoom. I think actually jumping there slows you down. Oh, okay, let's see. Since this is on the main story path, as I call it, we might get some more audio from our character.
My appreciation for these ruins among the clouds was, from the beginning, a bit nostalgic. I used to dream of places like these as a kid, and now they were brought back when I needed them the most. It would have been easy to give up and declare myself a casualty, but I remember well now that I never was that sort of person. When I eventually wake up, recovery will be a difficult, painstaking process. I've seen it. Even with brain integration, it takes time to learn how to walk on non-organic legs. But I've also seen veterans persevere throughout this process, wondering where they got their strength from. I need to find my source.
Alrighty, I think we might have time for 2 more stages. Ooh, look at those reflections. This level's called Underneath. Underneath the what? Oh, me dying, apparently, because that... Okay, let's restart that. And let's see how we can deal with this situation. So what the hell is going on? Aha, I see you. Shoot him. There you go. Yeah, the reset when you reset yourself as well. It's one of those, like, everything resets, because, of course, otherwise you can just cheese it by getting rid of things and then, like, resetting and then being able to go through it more easily. So let's not do that. Take care of these guys. Still, a lot of really interesting solutions to the kind of problems that a lot of 3D platformers face regarding enemies that would typically be more effective in 2D. And it makes sense, really, because, like, although to be fair, this game didn't really have to do that, because the levels in this game have so little ground to walk on, if that makes sense. Like, you don't really get these massive expansive environments, or at least, well, you do, except that they're made up of these small little sections, and so because of that, you really don't have much room to avoid shit getting shot at you like this, you know? Climb up the staircase, jump over here. How is this gonna work? There you go over there. What was I talking about? I was talking about Sonic Shadow Generations, wasn't I? Because I played through that, and yeah, so the game was a lot more challenging than I thought it would be. The challenge acts themselves are actually quite simple, and I'm not a fan of the way the game kind of pads itself out, with like, oh, go back and get these extra... The fuck? What just killed me? Go back and get these extra doomed... Oh, I see, okay. I get it, you know, it's such a short campaign. They're trying to make the most out of the assets they have, and to be fair, I'm glad that they definitely went for more quality over quantity, because there's not that many levels, but they're quite long. It's still so surreal playing what is essentially a Sonic Forces modern Sonic stage, except it goes on for longer than like a minute and a half. I still can't get over that, you know? It's like I keep expecting it to end any second, but then it doesn't. Oh no. I've been glitched. Okay, there you go, fix that real quick. Developers, no, okay. I'm not expecting them to see this specific video and patch that out, like, you know, the second that they see it, because, like, come on. That kind of stuff is very specific. It'll probably never happen again. You know, I've been playing this game for quite a while now, so haven't really, and by quite a while, every time I say that, it sounds like a contradiction, because, like, oh, I recently discovered this. When I say quite a while, in my head, that's like a couple hours. It's really interesting how, like, my idea of game length is so different to most, because, like, when I see someone calling a 6-hour game, for example, short, I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? That's like forever. I'll never beat that game. And then I go ahead and actually beat a 6-hour game. But still, it's like, I don't know, I have a very hard time completing a lot of games. In fact, the only reason I completed this one is because of how open-ended it is, and the fact you don't really have to complete everything, although I am going to try and complete as much as I can. Let's get the fuck out of here before I die.
It may be time for me to accept what the correct term for this dream world is. A lie. Someone is lying to me to protect my mind from what will break it. It could be me. There are such things as psychological defense mechanisms, and this absurd castle in the air seems increasingly like one of those. Battles the way I dreamed about them as a child, before I'd seen the war. But even more disturbing is the possibility that the people reconstructing my body and brain have inserted this to stop me from losing my mind before I even regain consciousness. Who would bring in images from my childhood's imagination to keep me in the dark? What could possibly justify that?
Let's do one more level, and this one is apparently rated a 9 on the difficulty scale. The game has like a little difficulty rating before you start a specific level. And yeah, this one is apparently a 9, so I'm expecting things to get quite tricky, although so far it doesn't seem so bad. You can move on. I do love that the game is very generous with how much of the level design you can sort of exploit. The fact that I can just stand on top and just kind of chill, you know, and then go back down. And then let's see what we're going to have to do. We got to take this guy out with his spread shot that covers a wide array of ground, and I'm going to take these guys out too. And now we're going to have to do some very elaborate parkour-isms, you know, like this. Move up, and there's the checkpoint. Very clever. Beacon of light to make it... Yo, what the fuck? Someone's shooting at me. Him. But yeah, it's a very easy way to tell the player, like, hey, dipshit, this is where you go. Because I don't really like having to get lost in these kind of games. Even though it's... Oh, fuck's sake. Come on. Let's not be like that game. There you go. Get over here. Lots of freedom, though. Seriously, it is very impressive how I never get lost, even though... Well, rarely get lost, despite the amount of freedom this game gives you with your movements, you know? It's a very cleverly designed set of levels. I wonder what the design process was like as to making them so easy to figure out. Maybe it's just the movement system inherently making it that way, you know? Oh my god, okay, so I have to go over here, get on the solar panels, which are slippery, because of course they would be. So now I have to take him out, and how are we going to do this? I guess we have to, like this, move here, and yeah, let's try and not... Oh, for fuck's sake. Alright, we're gonna have to try that again, but now that we have fewer frets to worry about, it should be a little bit easier. Let's just do this again. How am I gonna... Oh man, okay, so let's try like that. Use as little fuel as possible. Nope, that's still not gonna work. Okay. Don't fucking kill yourself. Come on. Oh man, okay, this is getting a little bit in puzzle platform territory. It's not. It really isn't. Ah, there you go. Just go over here. Shoot that guy. Make sure you don't fall off. There you go. And now we should be on our way. There you go. It's really not that difficult, to be honest. Very easy to figure out exactly where to go. Where were we? Shadow Generations, right? Because that game is... Man, it's seriously exceeded my wildest expectations. I didn't really have high expectations. It's interesting because I really wasn't very impressed by what they had shown. And yet, now that I've played it, it's like, wow. With Kingdom Valley and Chaos Island, Sunset Heights especially, damn, they redeemed that stage so hard. It was already one of the more iconic levels of that game, of the original. But then in this one, in Shadow Generations, it's just like, holy shit. They made it longer, they added that extra radical highway section, which I've grown to not really dislike as much as I used to. And they added a whole second act that is ridiculously well designed. Like, seriously, I do genuinely feel that of this new era of Boost Sonic, because the original Boost's era is gone. You know, it's over. It was, at least when it came to 3D, it was Unleashed, Colors, and Generations, right? And it's over. But now we have a new one, right? We're starting with, well, I guess, yeah, it'd be Forces, Frontiers, and Shadow Generations, I guess. Because Lost World was kind of its own thing, and it started the new trajectory of, like, technologically speaking, as in, you can notice that, like, basically every Sonic game now is running on what feels like a bit of Lost World, you know, with the way Sonic controls and feels. You know what I mean? Like, you can definitely feel a little bit of Lost World DNA. Especially with Forces, how it's like, it's a Boost game but built on Lost World, and that's why it felt so weird to play. But, you know, I've grown to understand the way it works now. And, oh man, what the hell was I talking about? Oh yeah, and so basically, yeah, we're now in just this new era of, like, what Sonic is in terms of his gameplay. It's like, it's Boost, but it's different kinds of Boost, you know? I wonder what the next one will be. Maybe they'll just keep doing what they're doing right now, or, I mean, knowing Sonic Team, they might just do something totally different again. And I wouldn't say I'd be totally against it. How the hell what am I supposed to do right now? Again, I've reached that point where I'm just like, okay, what am I, as a player, expected to do? So obviously I fall down here, I destroy, I get killed. Maybe I can actually strategically take that thing out before it becomes a problem, and then do something like this. Whoa. Yes, there you go. That's probably what I was supposed to do from the start. And that's the end of the level. Alright? I think we're going to leave it at that for part 3, and I'll see you guys in part 4. Let's see if our character is going to end it off. If not, then, you know, it'll just cut to the outro, and I'll see you guys next time with Cloudbuilt.
Contrast. Nothing reveals absurdity better. As soldiers, we learn to be pragmatic, to see what we must do and could do before what we should do. I thought that was who I was now, disillusioned but realistic. It may have been how I lived and fought, but it was not where I got my strength from. What kept me going was the same old idealism, the thought that victory was ahead of us, just out of sight. Now that I'm reliving that idealism where it started, as a fantasy, I can see how little it has in common with the world I'll eventually wake up to. There was no victory for us to reach. I refuse to accept defeat, but I still have to accept that.